Hey everybody, and welcome to the Network Sherpa's quick and dirty guide to power cables. If you're like me, you'll find it a little bit difficult to remember all the power terms and terminology for connectors and cord types. And the purpose of this quick and dirty video is to give you the right terminology to use and to basically save you time, save you mental energy, time and hassle. So let's start with three quick definitions. So we want to talk about the outlet, the power cord and the inlet. Those two terms confuse me a little bit. I guess they shouldn't do, but power always flows from the outlet to the inlet. So power flows from the main supply via a PDU into the inlet of the device that needs power. So let's focus on one or two of those items. We're going to start with the inlet. This here is a console server, a normal console router. It doesn't really matter, but the connector type should look familiar to you. This is a C14 connector. You see that it has a recessed housing, so it accepts the C13 connector, but that it has pins. Okay, so just remember this is an inlet where the power comes into the unit, and also that it has pins. It's a C14. So for the C14 inlet, I'm going to need to connect a C13 connector. So here's an example of a power cord with a C13 connector on one end. So even though this unit is inserted into the inlet, it doesn't have pins. It accepts the pins of the inlet. I used to get quite confused as to whether this was female or male. But the important thing to do here is remember to ignore what the housing is doing and focus on the pins. Does it have pins or not? If it doesn't have pins, it's female. That's it. So what about the other end of your power connector? Well, that's going to vary from country to country and from site to site. The long and short of this is that you need to do a site survey. You need to know for absolute certain what type of power distribution unit is present in your rack or on the site where you're going to try to power up your equipment. In my example, I had a C13 PDU, or I have a C13 PDU that I'm going to show you, and therefore I need a C14 connector at the other end of my power cord. Okay, so you can see the C14 connector here looks exactly like the C14 connector that was on the inlet of my console router. So here's the PDU that I'm using in my rack, and you can see that this is a full of C13 connectors, and again that they're recessed. They accept the outer housing of the C14 connector, and they also don't have pins. So again, this is female. This is an outlet, a power outlet. Happens also to be called a power distribution unit or PDU, but will accept the C14 connector that was on the other end of my cable. So just to show you here, here's the C14 connector with pins connecting to the C13 PDU. So when you do your site survey, you may notice that you have if you're in the US, you might notice that you have a NEMA 515 or PDU. Hopefully not this small, but you never know. And therefore you need to buy the standard US plug or the NEMA 515 plug. This guy here. So it varies from country to country. If you're in the UK or Ireland, you may have one of these British standard plugs. And again, you don't know until you do a site survey. So please, please, please do a site survey, know for sure, and order the correct part code. One final note that I have a problem with is remembering this which is C13 and which is 14. And the quick answer is that they come in pairs. You'll have C13 and 14, and that the female is always named first. So it's always female or C13 and then male C14. Same with the C19 and 20 connectors. There will be the female 19 and then the male 20. So we always talk about the flow of power, but another way to remember this is power always flows from female to male. Okay, so from 13 to 14. So guys, hopefully that's been a little bit of use to you, may help you remember these connector types in the future and reduce the amount of mental energy you spend thinking about power cable and can get on with the job of doing some network engineering. If you want to find out a little bit more about the Network Sherpa, visit me on www.thenetworksherpa.com, and you will find a little bit more notes and some references, especially to a more complete reference from the networking nerd on power connectors and the associated diagrams. So please come to my site and check it out.